me length and I seeing how much I'm tripping.
It's your girl. Welcome back. Pulling back up on us, man. The We Ain't Got It Yet podcast. As you can see, welcome back, Christian, a.k.a. C-Rob.
Yes.
What you been on, my boy?
Man, we got that dub yesterday.
It did.
Beat Mississippi Valley yesterday. Keeping our chances to get to the SWAC tournament, getting to Atlanta alive.
Yeah.
Beat the Delta Devils. I got to beat my former head coach, Coach George Ivory. It's always good kicking his butt.
Yeah.
Yep. And we got that
feel
done.
good. We did too, man. We went down and cleaned at the regional tournament, won the regional tournament. New information to me because I'm new to Mills, but man, we are at 20-0 in regional tournaments now. That's really big, man.
Coach Coop. Shout out to Coach Coop.
Shout out to Coach Coop, man. That's Black history.
Yeah.
That's
Shout out
Black
to Coach
history.
Coop.
Shout out to Black history.
Proud of what y'all got going on over there. Hope y'all can bring it on home.
Man,
Bring it back to
grind.
Dixon Road.
Trying to grind it out, man. That's all I can say. Today, we appreciate y'all pulling back up on us. This is our second episode with our new co-host, C-Rob, man. So I'm glad y'all still pulling up on us. Today, we're going to be covering Black history, man. Kind of covering, the past, what they didn't teach us, most importantly, because we hear about some of the same stuff over and over. So what they didn't teach us, our current landscape, and then, what we should be looking forward to in the future. So before we jump into that film, holler at me. What in your home, because we family, but in your home, what did Black history look like to y'all? What was y'all talking about at the crib?
Black history, man, my dad was very adamant about, kind of staying on, me and my sisters about kind of just Black entrepreneurship. That was really kind of in our household what my dad kind of harped on. Honestly, just talking about owning our own stuff, owning our own property, owning our own businesses, saving money. So that was kind of in our household what we kind of talked about in the Robinson household as far as my dad being the leader of that. We mostly just kind of talked about Black entrepreneurship and just entrepreneurship in itself. I know in other households it's other stuff as far as historic monuments, historic figures in history and stuff, but mostly in my family is very kind of business oriented, and my dad being a businessman himself, he always kind of just taught us about entrepreneurship and just Black folks owning our own stuff and how Black folks used to own it. I know you got the Black Wall Street shirt on.
Yeah, repping it today.
Yeah, so kind of my dad putting that type of information on our brains. That was what we talked about in our household.
Yeah. I would say that Black entrepreneurship and businesses, that wasn't a large topic growing up. I'm glad your dad talked to y'all about that, but that wasn't big in our house. What was big in my crib was educational stuff. My dad is a principal. I did not grow up living with him, but he talked a lot about that. And then my mom was just big on education. My mom doesn't have a college degree, but she made sure that I knew what it took in order to go to the next level. So the people in my community too, as far as church, we went to church 3-4 days a week.
Yeah.
So the people in the church, I grew up with Black superintendents. I grew up with principals and teachers in my church. So we always kind of learn more about the educational side of things, Brown versus Board of Education. I learned about that early growing up, the desegregation of schools. My mom was in the 5th grade when Monticello desegregated.
Yeah.
At first it was, I think they called it Central High. I think that was the name of their school, if I'm not mistaken, that. She was in the 5th grade, like I said, but I think it was called Central. And then they had Monticello School District. So when things became, inclusive and they became one school, she was in the 5th grade. So we talked about a lot of the stuff like that. But outside of that, that was just the basics, just basic community stuff. We didn't really get into Black entrepreneurship, but I'm glad that your dad a businessman too, though. Yeah. So I admit that was natural for him to cover with y'all.
Yeah, just growing up, we just always I don't know if that's kind of our similarities or whatever, or if that was my dad's agenda as far as raising us as a dad. But he just always kind of stayed on us, and I actually just put in our family group message this morning. I don't know why it was on my brain, but I put it on. I text my dad, so it's my dad and my 3 sisters in a group message, And I basically just told them success is not an option in our family. I hope y'all know that. And that's something that's been ingrained in my brain from my dad. With the Arkansas Warriors on the back of our shirt, our AAU team, we had success is not an option. And that was something that my dad came up with and put on the back of our shirts. And I don't know why I wanted to tell my sisters that or my family that today, but it was just on it was on my heart to put to tell them that.
Yeah. Well, success is really not an option for our people.
Nah.
It's just something that is required. So, get into, let's talk about it a little bit deeper, honoring our past unsung heroes. We always talk about, the main people. You hear about Rosa Parks, you hear about Martin Luther King, you hear about a little bit about Malcolm X, you hear about these main people. But, people don't know who Claudette Colvin was. And I don't know if our people on our pod know, so we're going to do a little education with this too. But, Claudette Colvin was, a young little 15-year-old. I want to say it happened in Montgomery, Alabama, too. It was, a little, the situation with Rosa Parks, how she sat on the bus and refused to get up. She was the first person to do that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to know where I learned that from? Had the podcast, one of the biggest podcasts we've done so far with Monique, the comedian, and she told me about that. I'm 30 years old, and that's the first time I ever heard about that.
Yeah, that was my first time hearing it when you told me before, as we was going over what we were going to talk about. I was like, hold on. You say what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's because you only just hear about Rosa Parks, and then when I asked you about why was it Rosa Parks, and you got to going in about how I'll let you kind of go into that, so you can explain it because I can't really explain it, but yeah, that was mind blowing for you to.
It was more so I guess I'm almost they thought about it marketing wise. Rosa Parks, she was the NAACP secretary for one, so she already had movement within the middle age people, the middle class people. They already knew who she was. She had some motion. But Claudette Colvin was a 15-year-old girl. They thought that why would we use a young individual, a teen, for the face of this campaign instead of using someone who's well known. Also, the little girl was dark skinned. Mm-hmm. So when you see. Think about the class, like how we see the skin of people. Light-skinned people had more respect back then, unfortunately. But so they decided to go with Rosa Parks for that reason too, which was really interesting. But learning about her, that's super dope to me. They not teaching that in the classrooms. They really don't teach a lot of Black history in general.
Yeah, little stuff like that, man. I'm pretty sure our people do not know much about that type of stuff. Because I honestly harp on history because to not to know your history is to not to know where we're going. So history repeats itself. So that was kind of different. I never
heard about that.
Yeah, I never heard about that at all.
Well, I know I got one that I know but maybe the people don't. Samuel L. Kuntz. Everybody at UAPB know my boy. He was the first person to do a successful transplant surgery that did not have anything to do with identical twins. It was different people who were not related to each other. Well, I don't know if they were related to each other or not, but it was different. They weren't siblings, put it like that. Samuel Kuntz, they talked about him all the time at UAPB, man. Just little small stuff like that. That's history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, man. They sleep on Arkansas, man. They sleep on, we come from the yard, so.
Facts.
They sleep on, man, just Arkansas history.
In general.
Yeah.
We have a lot of history here that we never cover in Arkansas history, which Black history is American history. Mm-hmm. Black history here in Arkansas is Arkansas history. I got another one for you. You remember how growing up at your grandma's house, your auntie house, you went to your family crib and stuff. They had the little magazines on their little coffee tables and stuff like that.
I already know what you finna say.
What? Who?
Jet magazine.
Hey, and Ebony too.
And Ebony.
Jet and Ebony magazine.
Jet magazine. My mama, my grandma, my auntie, Jet magazine.
Always reading it. Yeah. I used to love to go through them and check out the cover.
It wasn't even that big. It was kind of
boy. It was like the size. It was a little bit smaller than the little iPads, the little mini iPads. Mm-hmm. But
they don't have them.
I don't think they got that no more. But I brought that up because the dude, I think his name is John H. Johnson. He's originally from Arkansas. The founder of Ebony and Jet
I got magazine. Another one.
What?
Since you got the black Wall Street shirt on, O.W. Gurley is from Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Who's that?
One of the founders of Black Wall Street.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Dang, that's new information to me. Did he go to UAPB?
He didn't go to UAPB. I know he's from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I also know people that watch this comment and share some valuable information that we can prolong this conversation on. But Pine Bluff was either 4th or 5th highs as far as like black economic systems. It was one of the most like flourishing economic black systems in the whole America.
The whole United States, yeah. Pine Bluff used to really be that city, man. It was really jumping. It's really jumping before all the crime and stuff started to happen, which kind of, we blame that on black people, but it's a lot of different things, the reason crime exists. But we'll get into that. Mm-hmm. Moving on to like specific Arkansas Black history influences. Man, I was talking to some people. Obviously, it was Black History Month this past month, but we were talking about what our kids don't know. Obviously, everybody knows I'm an educator, but a lot of kids in Little Rock know nothing about the Little Rock Nine, bro, and that happened right here in the city.
Yeah.
That is amazing to me, for people not to know anything about that.
I mean, honestly, now the generation is just different. Like, we're talking about Jet magazines, we're talking about Ebony magazines. Like, we don't even open up magazines anymore. If you're not seeing this on your phone, or if you're not seeing it on a video game in some way,
how they getting the information?
How are they getting the what is it, Generation X, Generation Alpha now? Like, they're not going to be getting this information if it's not exposed to them on a digital platform in some way.
Facts.
Yeah, like.
Facts. But I mean, I think that's the reason for education. I really hate that we don't spend a lot of time explaining these different things in history, and we can't expect education to do everything. A lot of stuff got to come from the crib, bro. We ain't talking about this stuff with our kids. A lot of people don't even spend time with their kids and discuss these type of things, because if they knew where they came from, they don't want to do a lot better than just the basic stuff what they see.
Yeah, because honestly, what you saying, it has to start at home, because a lot of stuff, me learning history, me wanting to be a black entrepreneur, me wanting to further my knowledge and my education as far as reading books and want to enhance my network with the people that I associate myself with, comes from home. Like, me eating healthy food, me wanting to take my health serious, learning from my stepmama that worked for the FDA for many years. That stuff started at home, so the foundation has to start at home to get a young person to grow and develop into a human, a grown person. However, that has to start at home. You just can't expect a kid or a teenager to grow up into adulthood and they have all these different tools that they haven't been exposed to.
Right.
Yeah.
And the key word here that you just said was exposure. Mm-hmm. Was exposure. Man, I'll never forget, and this is kind of off topic, but we're talking about being homegrown. Mm-hmm. What we feed ourselves, literally and physically, that is who we are. I remember growing up, bro, and all we did was eat McDonald's, them double cheeseburgers, them fries, them sweet teas and stuff. I don't even like sweet tea. Eating poison. And not understanding, like, what calories were and, like, how to put that stuff in your, like, we'll get to that another day. I don't even want to get into all that, but it'll get into another day. But it comes from home and what we being taught. And it's not always our parents' fault. It's what they kind of, know too. And not understanding, having enough information to make the proper decisions. But okay. Have you ever heard of the Elaine Massacre?
The Elaine Massacre? I know you told me before we even shot this, but I've never heard. I'm trying to think if I have, but I don't think I have, honestly.
So a lot of people in Arkansas know nothing about the Elaine massacres, but it happened in 1919. It was one of the deadliest racial conflicts in U.S. history. Black sharecroppers in Elaine, Arkansas were organizing for fair wages when white law enforcement attacked their meeting. A white man was killed in the initial gunfight, sparking violent retaliation. Hundreds of armed white mobs and federal troops killed between 100 and 240 black women and children, bro, just because these people had a meeting to talk about fair wages.
That's what they don't like, though. They don't like when we come together and we congregate and we come up with a plan when we come up with some organization, they hate that. And
Facts.
I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers. I'm not trying to cross anybody by any means. But as far as I'm just talking about our people that look like us, people that come from the same backgrounds as we do, they do not like, and I'm not just talking about the typical race, the white race or the Caucasian race. However, I'm speaking of any race that doesn't, you know what I mean, agree upon how we kind of
how we handle ourselves
Yeah.
culturally and our
Mhm.
heritage wise.
Man, they don't like that because as you told me before we had this podcast about if you go read the book of Genesis on how powerful black people were from a long time ago, we tried to build a stairway to heaven and the Lord had to
Divide us up.
cause we and went so far. We are so courageous and
Ambitious.
come on. We tried to build a stairway to heaven.
And God had to make some shake because we was going out. We was doing too much.
Come on,
and
man.
and we'll get into that a little bit here in a second too. DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion is under attack specifically by the government right now. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Hold on. Before we get into that, can you go over what you just said again? Because we have people around our age range. As we got to keep going over this. I know we got to keep beating it over the head, but people that look like us, people that come from the same backgrounds as us, that do not know what is going on currently right now. So can we go over what does DUI mean? What does that mean for our society? What does that mean for people that look like us?
So DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And for people who look like us, we are that diverse part. You know, we are outside of the majority. We're minorities. And minorities is not just race-based. A lot of people, when they say DEI, they immediately think of race, but it also covers women. It covers LGBTQI. It covers people with disabilities. It's a wide range of things up under the umbrella of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies and programming. It's not just about getting black people jobs or getting black people more opportunities. It's about maybe women is a minority. People who are handicapped are minorities. People who have like hearing loss are minorities. It's a lot of different things that's covered in that piece that they fail to realize those programs, and they enhance people's opportunities who would not normally have them. So there's a major pushback on those initiatives right now, especially by corporations like, for instance, Target, Starbucks, Walmart. Walmart is a Arkansas-based business. It's worldwide, but they're taking what the government is saying, where it's I don't know if it's illegal or if just because of all of the different policies have been changing, but people are transitioning, getting away from those inclusive programmings. So as I was saying before, now that we understand what that means now, what are your thoughts on DEI and all of the policies being expunged?
Honestly, at first I didn't kind of know what DEI was. And I was trying to figure out, I was trying to navigate and get a better understanding of what it meant and like kind of how it meant for our society. But now with a better understanding, man, that's messed up.
Yeah, man.
Just like
straight facts.
Like,
but what's like,
it's messed up. It doesn't give for people with these different disabilities or just different don't look like the people as they want of higher power want these people to look like. It just doesn't give them a fair chance and a fair game, man. Like as you was telling me about someone that might come from a humbling background and they might have a 27 on the ACT and You have someone that might fit the criteria of the look that they want these people to have, and they might have a 30, but at the same time, they're not more qualified than the person with a 27. They just might have been exposed to a little bit more of knowledge and education and guardianship than the person with the 30. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, honestly, man, I just feel like we're in a trick bag right now. We don't really understand what's going on. And we need to lock in to what's going on, because it's basically taken away from our livelihood, it's taken away from jobs, it's taken away from opportunities that
you wouldn't normally have access to, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're calling this attack, this anti-woke movement, they're considering reverse racism. So people who are not of diverse backgrounds, we're what is the word? We're kind of against them because we're trying to give people more opportunities. But I think it all comes to, like, historically, these people have suffered. Historically, these people have had less access and exposure to different opportunities, different educational systems. I think DEI was put in place genuinely because they wanted to give back to different communities and cultures or heritages or people from different minorities all together because they have not had access.
Yep.
So I think it's unfortunate. I think it's like the words that you use. We're trying to be, really cute with our language right now, but it's messed up.
It's messed up.
It's real messed up that we would get away from that.
Because you're taking opportunity. You're not only are you taking opportunity, they might as well not even show up and put their shoes and shorts and jersey on. The opportunity, just like back in the day, when they had the white only signs on stores, you see the sign on the door, you might as well not even go in because they're not gonna serve you.
Facts.
And no telling what might happen after that. They're not even giving you an opportunity to show up and show what you are capable of.
Yeah.
They're not even giving you the opportunity to come show your potential.
And as you say that, I want to verify what you're saying. I want to support what you're saying at a deeper tone. DEI was put in place because these people were already qualified, but they were not getting looks without those type of programs and initiatives. So it was never that they didn't have enough. For instance, like you said, the white-only signs. How you know I can't come in here and afford the food? What disqualifies me other than my race?
I'm not finna come in here and act for food. All I'm trying to do is give me a bite to eat.
Just come in here and get a meal.
I'm gonna carry on about my way. I'm not finna come in here and mess up y'all establishment or nothing like that. What make me disqualified or unqualified to come in and get a bite to eat? I'm just,
straight facts.
I'm just coming in just like everybody
trying
else.
To get a meal.
Trying to get me a meal.
But I think it's unfortunate that is happening. With that being said, do you think they'll go so far to take away like Martin Luther King Jr. Day? Would they take away the Native American Heritage Months? Would they get rid of all these things that are in celebration?
Why wouldn't they?
If they'll go so far to take away the program and initiatives, what's next?
They came over here and stole these folks' land.
That might hurt them. That's a fact, though.
You ask me questions like that, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for
how we view it, but those are just facts.
How aggressive this might come off, but they came over here and stole these folks' land and tricked them.
Out they spot.
For the longest, black folks was thinking Thanksgiving was a day of enjoyment and happiness. And honestly, Thanksgiving was a horrible day.
A horrible day for all the minorities who existed in America.
Just like Juneteenth. A lot of our folks didn't know that we was free. We had been free for over a year.
Sure was before they start Thank you for boy. You talking now?
We don't even get credit enough credit for winning the Civil War.
Sure don't.
We wouldn't have won. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not a history teacher by any means or anything like that. I just try to pay attention as much as possible. Outside my daily purpose in life of being a coach. But Yeah, I don't think we would have won the Civil War if it wasn't for black folks. If I'm not mistaken, there's something along about the Buffalo Soldiers or something like that. If I ain't
Talk
mistaken.
to them then.
So why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they take away Martin Luther King Day? They didn't. They killed him. They had already killed him.
You believe in that conspiracy theory?
What?
That Martin Luther King was murdered by the federal government,
Man, I don't
not by
believe. Man, I'm not believing none of that. He say see that. They've been giving us that he say conspiracy stuff our whole lives. Yeah. Our whole life. They say it's just like us chasing a carrot. Just like if you run fast, you'll get this carrot. Then when we get closer to the carrot, they moved the goalposts. Come on, man.
I think that I really truthfully believe that's what's going on with the DEI initiatives right now. That the goalpost is being moved. And it's okay because we're already qualified. I want to make it clear that we both come from a small community. Well, you grew up in, Little Rock, but you were originally born in Monticello. But we come from small communities. We're both educated, black and educated. You work at a university. I'm working on I have 2 master's degrees and I'm getting a doctorate degree. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I don't need DEI policies and initiatives. You don't need DEI policies and initiatives. Yeah. The anger and the outrage is more so that without these DEI policies and initiatives, people who are qualified will not get opportunities. Yeah. That is the original outrage. And quite frankly, without these initiatives, some of these other people in these different spaces, it's not just about black people, again, like I said before, some of these other people, white women, people who have handicapped and stuff like that, they won't get those specific opportunities. So I really hate that. I feel like our country is repeating itself with the same old things to prevent people from advancing, because the majority, and I hate to say this because I got a lot of people that I fool with, but in politics, white males feel threatened.
Yeah. And I know we got to move on with the agenda of the podcast, but I just don't want us to move too fast past what you just asked me. Will they get rid of certain initiatives and days like Martin Luther King Day or Martin Luther King Jr. Day? Like, of course. Yeah. Why would they not? Donald Trump is the president right now. Donald Trump is, these folks he got Elon Musk, folks that ain't got nothing to do with
none of the politics.
So why would qualified. They not? Martin Luther King wasn't harming nobody. Trayvon Martin wasn't harming nobody. George Floyd wasn't harming nobody. The kid, I can't remember. I don't know her name right now, but them folks at Little Rock 9 wasn't harming nobody.
Daisy Bates them.
They wasn't harmed. They were just trying to go to school and get an education. So for you to come in 2025 and ask me, do I think I'm almost certain that they will.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point.
So I know. I can't skip it though, E. I can't. Them folks climbed over the Capitol and
did what they did.
Broke in federal buildings.
And did what they did. It got away with it for the most part. Once he got in office, he pardoned them? Didn't he do that, or am I just making it up? You right about this?
Black folks, hear me out. Cause I think I want y'all to make sure that we got to all be on one accord. Black History Month is over with. We're in March. If y'all think these folks is playing, we better wake up and smell the coffee. I know we boycotted. What was yesterday? Mm-hmm. That ain't gonna be enough.
It ain't gonna be enough.
That ain't gonna be enough boycotting one day of Target and Walmart.
It's gonna take.
And we don't own nothing. We don't own no Walmart. We don't own no Target. We don't own no Sally's. The Sally's hair place. We don't own McDonald's. We don't own Burger King. We don't own Nathaniel. We own nothing.
ChatGPT right now. I'm glad you said that. What's the biggest black business right now?
So why would they not? We ain't got no say so in nothing, no way. They already coming up. They getting rid of the programs that was helping us. I wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of Section 8. What would we do if they got rid of Section 8? Yeah. What them folks gonna do? What some of our aunties and cousins gonna do if they get rid of Section 8?
Well, I'm just telling you right now, it's probably gonna be a done deal pretty soon.
What if they get rid of EBT?
It's SNAP.
They already got the what, Jeff Bezos? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. They already got the robots, him and Elon Musk. They took them jobs away. A whole bunch of folks around my age, around 27 right now, work for UPS and Amazon and
all these businesses that getting rid of these initiatives.
So they're finna get rid of your jobs and replace your job with a robot, and we don't own none of them. So what? And then if they getting rid of the how you eat, they getting rid of the roof over your head. What we gonna do?
Yeah, and I think as we talk about this, I saw some very sad things because I really truthfully believe that they tried to warn us, but I don't think the American people understood. But these people will eat you alive. They really could care less. I think America.
We on TikTok, and we playing Fortnite and GTA 5 and waiting on GTA 6 to come out and playing 2K on Twitch. That's why we don't know. When TikTok crashed, man, we about died.
You ain't lying. Let me make this point, and then I'm gonna jump into.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna jump into what you said there too. Back to jobs and businesses. When you said that, it triggered me to think about what are the biggest black-owned businesses right now, and I'm gonna name it to you. Number one is Worldwide Technology. It's $17 billion in revenue, and it was founded by David Stewart. This tech solutions firm is one of the largest black-owned companies in the world. Then number two is Vista Equity Partners. They have over $100 billion in assets, private equity and investment, and it's led by Robert F. Smith. Robert F. Smith is the guy, the black guy he has the most revenue in the world as far as one black man. And then they named a few other things. Black Entertainment Television was fourth. Originally founded by Robert L. Johnson, but if I'm not mistaken, it was sold to Viacom, right? Which is like Paramount now.
Yeah, something like that.
So, but it's
when you
say BET.
You're talking about BET, right?
Yeah, there. BET remains black entertainment. And there's so much that they could do at BET that they're not doing.
I know, like, they used to have like games and stuff on. I remember seeing
HBCU Go.
Yeah.
I know they just started doing that. But I have a friend who I went to law school at Arizona State. For the most people who watch this, and the newcomers, that's new information to you. But I went to Arizona State Law School, and one of my friends, he was from Cali. He talked about all the stuff that BET. We need to be hiring more people like us. He talked about all the stuff that BET could be doing. In HBCU Go, he said that way back in 2017. And they just now, most recently over the last year or two, just started HBCU Go. But they could have been doing that. Could have been doing it.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on. Let's get back on task because we didn't got real upset. As you said, being on TikTok, that triggered my idea about media. Black media being able to tell our stories, because all of the information that we have right now, we're missing a lot of it because where are we to learn it? If it's not at home, if it's not at school, where are we getting the appropriate information about things that affect us? And I think black media being able to tell our stories, entertain us, of course. You know, people love entertainment more than they love anything. But entertain us and also give us like things about politics and stuff like that. The Breakfast Club, a great source of information. You learn about a lot of different things on that. We ain't got it yet. Think about the things that we discuss and the things we talk about. That's led through a black cast. You and I. Consuela, when she was on here, being able to have spaces like that, I think it's extremely important. We've talked about here before the Native Land Pod. Black media is extremely important to us, man. Being able to tell our stories, because without us, who's going to talk about the things that affect us? Mm-hmm. And I don't think we get enough support.
And then they can't tell it how we tell it.
That's a fact. You can't tell it how we tell it.
Yeah, they can't tell it how we tell it. because we actually experienced that type of stuff. So, I know you talk about the Breakfast Club. This is one of my favorite shows, podcasts. Earn Your Leisure.
Yeah.
Earn Your Leisure, by far, is one of my best podcasts of my lifetime.
Yeah.
As far as, man, learning just financial literacy, just different tips and stuff, like as far as credit and owning property and buying a car and opening up accounts. Man, Earn Your Leisure is one of my favorite shows that I literally every day.
Yeah. Black creators are extremely important to us as a community. It's an important part because, again, nobody tells our stories like we do. I'm not sure if you know. I don't watch the news a lot, but what I've been seeing most recently, her name is Joy Reid. She got fired from MSNBC, all because I think they have a new, I don't know what they call them, if they the CEO or something. I don't know. Somebody new came in, and because all the DEI initiatives in the government, they start cutting a lot of their programming to kind of like align with what they think their viewers would just, want to see more of. And, I think it's unfortunate because I think a lot of their black people were cut. A lot of their, not just black, but a lot of the people, minorities, that's probably the best way to say it, were cut from MSNBC. So the media is even transforming, which means if they control what's put out in the media, if they control what you're learning, because go back to African-American history not even wanting to be taught in schools anymore. If they control all that stuff, where are we going to learn about us and the things that are affecting us without bias? So black storytellers are extremely important. Even look at pop culture, how they try to control our narrative. You talked about this with me before about we had a conversation about Beyonce and Cowboy Carter. The stuff that you were saying about black cowboys. I didn't know that 1 in 4 cowboys were black.
Yeah.
That statistical data is you can't get away from that. So you can't say that black people have no country experience. We're in the genetics of country music and the cowboy history.
Yeah. Man, shout out Jay Ward, man, Mr. Lambert, off of Russenberger Road. Man, I gotta give a lot of credit to Mr. Lambert. He used to own Lazy L Rodeo, literally across the grass from my dad. He built my dad's house. And that's when I fell in love, like, with rodeos. Every other Saturday he had a rodeo, and this was the first time I seen black cowgirls and black cowboys, black men riding on bulls and black men steer wrestling and seeing young girls and women calf roping and barrel racing, and that was my first time riding a steer, riding a calf. Like, I never experienced nothing like, because mostly, man, growing up in the city, you got basketball players, you got football players.
All athletics and sports.
Yeah, you got the dope boys, you got rappers. Like, you don't got nobody going to being a bull rider or going to rodeos or wearing boots. And like down south, like down in Monticello, stuff like that, that's a little bit more common. But up here in the city, you don't rodeo wanting to grow up and be a cowboy. Like, that ain't something that's just common, man.
Facts.
Yeah, that ain't very common at all. But now
but it's embedded in our history though. Mm-hmm. It's embedded in our history. It's throughout. The term cowboy. Remember we were talking about the cow. I'm gonna let you tell them about the rodeo, the black rodeo that's coming up. But the term cowboy was a derogatory term that was used to talk about the black cowhands. Obviously, throughout our history, we've done the toughest jobs, breaking horses, reining cattle, being the first to have to go across the streams and the rivers or whatever when they were moving the cattle. Cowboy was used to actually define black cowboys. So, I mean, we're embedded throughout the history through and through. Tell them a little bit about the Black Rodeo.
March 29th, the Feed the Beast Rodeo, the 3rd annual rodeo, basically a black rodeo. It'll be going on in Little Rock, Arkansas at Barton Coliseum. Man, I know as they state, it's just the third annual rodeo, but this is something that's very new to our city, to our state, honestly. I've been seeing, I haven't actually been, I was supposed to go last year, but I ended up going and supporting one of my friends' event up in Fayetteville for Black Alumni Association up for the University of Arkansas. So I didn't go last year, and that was supposed to be my first year, but man, they have a great turnout. I see a lot of people that I went to school with, a lot of peers, going out and supporting the rodeo, and that was kind of like different to see, because you don't really actually after this rodeo, it's probably no other black rodeos in Arkansas that I know of that magnitude, like in the arena, like that, like how Barton Coliseum is. But we plan on getting out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something different, man.
Yeah, man. I don't know if you know this, but Beyonce brought in I think she was Arkansas's black rodeo queen or something like that. I think she's out of Fort Smith, Arkansas. So we got a little history here in Arkansas, just kind of spread out. It's not something that's really widespread. Like everybody talks about sports here in Arkansas, but they're not talking about the other things because that is a sport. Rodeo and it's
we can always name, man, who's in the NBA right now from Arkansas, who's in the NFL.
Facts.
Man, who's the next we know what Bankroll Freddie's doing every day. Like, but as far as stuff
supporting other things in our cultural and history,
that's a little different.
Facts.
Man. But it's growing.
Facts.
Popularity is growing.
Facts. So what's next? What's next for our history, man? And I really think there's a lot of things that we need to do, and the first thing we got to do is like start building more pathways within our community. If we didn't learn anything else from Greenwood, Oklahoma, we should have learned that we are capable. We do have the resources if we come together. And we'll talk a little bit about, I'll save the Black Wall Street, tangent for later. But we are capable. We have to start creating more pathways.
Yeah.
And I think we've tried to do that historically. I mean, with Grinding the Vans, you've tried to create pathways for kids who don't get the shine that all the rest of the kids of the state of Arkansas get, trying to shine a light on different spaces.
Yep.
I've done that through Goated, going to different areas in the rural communities where they don't have access to gyms. They don't have trainers who really know what they talking about. They don't really know what they got to do to make it to the next level. And then academic-wise, they don't have the resources that, being in the city, the different nonprofits and stuff they have access to. So I think we've historically tried to create pathways. But I think it has to be way more of that. And the people who are doing that, we got to come together and support each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, I definitely agree with you. Man, I don't know if you want to talk about it now. We talk about it later, but this is something that I'm super passionate about, and definitely for our people. I just feel like we just got to have more ownership. We got to have more ownership and just a wider spectrum of things, man. Like we got to create our own systems, man, from as far as our education to as far as our finance, to as far as our health, as far as our insurance, man, it's just a lot of stuff that we do not own. We're always tuned to the other races. I'm not just gonna put this just on one race, but we're always tuned to another race's drum.
Absolutely.
Like, to their horn. Like we're all we own nothing. When we send Lil Ray, when we send Lil Tutu to school, that school owned by another race.
Yeah.
When we send Lil Tutu to the NBA, the NFL, his agent ain't
belong to another race majority of the time.
We don't own nothing.
Yeah. We don't keep nothing in the house.
Nothing.
We don't support our
you got
community in a way.
And that's why I was saying. I don't know if you want to. Do you want to wait? But I'm looking at this Black Wall Street shirt right now and all the stuff that they own. Churches, restaurants, grocery stores, post offices, banks, hospitals. We got 1,000 nurses in our race right now. Private airplanes, movie theaters. Y'all get on Netflix. Y'all get on Netflix every day. But I'm just being serious, y'all. But we don't own none of it.
No, we don't. We don't. We got it, and I'm glad that you said that. But I think like the people, because we do have some black businesses.
Yeah, of course
We do have some black businesses, but I think that mentorship within our community and the togetherness within our community, we got to share the knowledge and bond together. We don't bond together well, and I'm gonna say that part for the end too. You stole my thunder a little bit, but I'm gonna talk about being together. Let's move on a little bit more. Our waggy point for the day, because we finna get ready to close after we talk about a few things too. But our waggy point for the day is we may not have everything yet, but we're standing on the backs of giants, man. Think of all the people who came before us that we've learned about and what they've been through in order for us to get here. Like you said, success is not an option. It's not an option. It's what it is. And at the end of the day, we can't stop now. As we see the landscape, the political landscape and what's going on.
We're going to be in a rude of trouble.
That's a fact.
If we stop now, we going to be in a rude of trouble. We might as well pack our bags and head back to the motherland because it ain't looking too good right now.
It's not. It's not looking too good.
It ain't looking too good right now. They already, and look, if y'all don't get anything else from this podcast, I was told that higher power people work on average like 6 years in advance. So if y'all think while Donald Trump has a tenure of 4 years, he's not finna make some shape.
It's gonna be a rude awakening.
Hey,
it's
man.
about to be a rude awakening.
I'll pack my bag and I ain't even been there.
I got somewhere to go. I hit that flight to go to the Bahamas and go too far south. I got somewhere to go.
Hey, the little knowledge I know about what our ancestors had to go through.
Yeah, I'm straight on repeating that. I'm straight. And at the end of the day, I think we have to think about it as Americans. As slaves, we built this country on our back. Literally.
There's no way our folks
built it on our back.
There's no way our folks went through this.
So, as I say that, we can't ignore the painful history of America, man. We really got to accept where we at and embrace it and then figure out how we can be more together. Yep. And that should be what being American looks like because we can't go back and change our history, but we cannot allow it to repeat itself, and that's just period.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, let's get ready to wrap it up. What's your favorite Black history moment in history? Oh, let's go old school and new school. So, give me your new school first.
My new school would be Black Lives Matter.
Facts.
That was very powerful to see. Like, honestly, in my lifetime, I know we always hear about the stuff that some of the people that came before us did as far as, like, the marches and different things like that. But, honestly, we'd be lying to say that we experienced that. Yeah, we learned about it in school. Some of the kids of this generation, they took that out of the school system, so they're not learning about it right now. Yeah. But man, the Black Lives Matter movement was very powerful, man, because it didn't matter if you was rich or poor. Man, you seen some of the most successful Black people in society right now out
band together.
Yeah, band together, out marching on freeways,
Facts.
really shutting down intersections and standing behind what we feel is right.
Yeah. And that's the closest we'll ever be to the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And that's the closest we'll ever be to being together. And I hate to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
No, you cool.
But our generation, we, like you said, we haven't been close to it. We haven't been connected to that. Our parents were kids during those time periods, so they kind of far out. If we don't continue to teach this within our community, in our homes, we'll forget and we'll allow the same thing to happen to us again. So I'm glad you said Black Lives Matter. My new school would be, I got two. I just really love that we wasn't going and that fight on that riverfront, that fight at the boat thing. What did they call it? I wrote it down. Let me find it.
What was that, in Alabama?
It was in Alabama. Montgomery Riverfront Ball. That's literally the name for it in history now. Yeah. When that man picked up that chair and smacked him and they went crazy.
And that And I know this not a serious moment right now, but I don't understand what's holding us back.
What do you mean by that?
Just to your point right now about the what you said was
It's called Montgomery Riverfront Ball. What's keeping us from going off like that?
if y'all they always say black folks can't swim.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't seen one of our folks over there, these white folks, and jumped on him. And this folk, man, we ain't jumped in the water. We
got over there and went to work.
They say we can't swim. We ain't swam through the water and came through there and came up out of there
and went to work.
What's keeping us? What is we scared to fight? We fight. Look. I know. And it's time to wrap it up. E. I know
it's okay, out because this is good conversation.
E. I know it's time to wrap it up. I don't know what's keeping us. What?
I'm gonna tell you what's keeping us.
We not scared to fight.
I'm gonna tell you what's keeping us. And I'm finna go far off in the water with this.
I don't understand.
What's keeping us is the people who control our money, who control the way we eat and the way we provide for our families, are telling us to brush it over and shush it over and let it bypass. I'm telling you. And because they control our jobs and our money, we afraid to say certain things and call a spade because the people who control the system expect us to allow things to happen to us like that. And as I say that, I'm gonna give you a prime example. And at this point, I really don't care about no job. We went down, and I'm gonna tell this, and I'm gonna clip this too. We went down to I'm not gonna name the school because I don't want it to be an issue, to a small, predominantly white school. We took our team is predominantly black. I'm a basketball coach for those who are new. They're predominantly black. We go to a predominantly white school. We go to the school. The play was really aggressive. We number one team in state right now in our division. Play was really aggressive. A lot of the things that were really rough during the time were not basketball plays. A lot of pushing, a lot of shoving. The referees struggled to control the game. It was 3 referees were older white men who were probably 60 year old, 60s, 70s. Real deal. No, I'm not even going too far when I say that. They were probably in their 60s and 70s. They struggled to control the game. One of our best players on our team at the end of the game, I want to say, was like in third, top of the fourth, somewhere in that area. He was chased down. One of our kids threw an alley to him. He was chased down and shoved in the back in the middle of the game. That's a non-basketball play. Shoved in the back. He fell down, broke his wrist. Literally broke his wrist in 2 different places. Had to be rushed to emergency room. This happens. Our staff is instantly upset. We control ourselves. Me and our head coach, we shook hands at the end of the game or whatever, but we kind of wanted to control the game at the end where we wouldn't have any issues. Our kids didn't react. They handled it very well. Back in the day, if it's us, you already know we finna set it off up in that thing because that's not a basketball play. Now we finna have to do a little scrapping. Our kids, so proud of them. They handled it very well. But at the same time, in that moment, as an African American, we have a fear of a retaliation because of the perspective of how we'll be seen for retaliating. It's like you stepping on my foot. You stepping on my foot. You stepping on my foot, and then when I hit you, you point at me and act like, look at my retaliation. Look at me. But you're not explaining why I acted that way, and that's why the people in our communities, we struggle fighting for what's right because we're afraid of what the people who control our institutions and our systems will say to us for being outraged. We'll be called crazy. We'll be called crazy because we're outraged for the improper treatment. The video was published on social media. The system, the people who control the system asked us to remove it because the kid who chased down and shoved our kid in the back was supposedly getting death threats. Our kid, a death threat is nothing. Our kid was physically injured during the game. What about him? How do we feel about him and he's a senior. They ended his season. What about him? Why are we more concerned about a kid who caused the harm to our child than we are concerned about getting? It was published because the team had been doing stuff like that all season long. Rough play. But nobody called them out, only controlling us in the narrative of how we respond to it. So that's pretty much to answer your question. It's the perspective and the control of the narrative, because we don't want to call bullshit. Period.
And I don't understand the BS.
Me neither.
I like is super inexcusable for us black folks. I'ma just say that. It's inexcusable for us. Why are we so concerned about what they got to say about us?
When they gonna say it anyway?
And we ain't got nothing. Why are we so concerned about what they got to say about us? Y'all are concerned. Because I am black myself. I got a black mama. I got black sisters. I got a grandmama. I got aunties. I got a daddy. And I've heard the conversations that we have at home, behind closed doors. About what we don't have and what we should have and what we do deserve. So I'm not understanding the excuse that we are using currently about what they gonna say and he say, she say. Yes.
And we have a lot to say without actually standing 10 toes down and calling out front, this is what happened, this is what we're not going to allow happen, and to stand in the bed together. Yeah.
We got little young black folks that look like us. They call y'all referred to as YNs.
Yeah. What's wrong with them?
Y'all are referred to as YNs. Y'all around here.
What's that little clip on that thing? What's that called?
What are we concerned? Why do we care about their opinion?
I don't know.
Why are we scared to go fight?
I don't know.
We shoot and kill each other every day, all day long.
When it's time to stand on something that's right and wrong that affects all of us, we don't never do it though. You on to something right now? Hey, you want to tell who you sound like? And we gotta go and close the episode out because we get this. No. This that Charleston White concept.
I just got to eat. Please. I'm wrap it up. It's 58 right now. I promise I'll be done by 1.
Wow, I got you. Cause we've been keeping them long today.
I head nappy. We losing feminine. We losing the masculinity in our men. We don't own nothing. We just confused right now, E. Like, I just don't understand. We killing each other. They taking the jobs from us. We out here embarrassing ourselves. The men and the women ain't neither. We don't care about what they got to say, but we still ain't pulled our pants up.
Facts.
As far as the men. And now the women, we walking around with our panties showing our whole body. Exposing our whole body. What you supposed to have sacred for your husband at the house. We don't care. We still walking like when you was on the podcast with Monique. I done heard Monique say we still going to the airport with our do-rags and bunnies on.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care about what the people got. They looking at us like buffoons and circus monkeys. Then
you on to something?
But I stop right there because you said we can't go too deep. So it's nothing but. Black folks, we ain't doing nothing but making excuses for ourselves because we lying to ourselves. We lying to ourselves because if we really care, we'll carry ourselves in society a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Simple. Y'all want to so bad. Man, y'all need to go to the military.
What they call them little clips? Them little clips, I don't know what they call them.
Man.
But I do know that I am in complete agreement. I think the most important thing that you said, that why are we afraid to fight? We're not afraid to fight each other. We fight each other every day, but why are we afraid to fight for what's right? And I think that may be one of the biggest points that we've made on this pod today, is that our livelihood is under not
Y'all
review, but it's under the microscope right now, and it's not looking good for us. But why are we afraid to fight?
Y'all ain't embarrassed when y'all go swipe that EBT card.
Show ain't embarrassed. So what I do know, let's go ahead and let's wrap it up. What is your old school favorite moment, and maybe not favorite moment, but the thing that stood out that you hold dear to your heart? What's your old school moment in Black history?
I was in the 7th grade, and I was in the 7th grade. President Barack Obama got elected. And I always used to just hear as a little kid that, we ain't gonna never have no black president. It'll be such and such. You'll be dead and gone by the time we have a black president.
They used to say, hell gonna freeze over.
Yeah, and just to see everything stop. Like, I remember when he got elected, they had it on TV. We didn't do no classwork that day. We just watched the inauguration. So that was probably like the biggest thing, because I just always heard, like, and I never seen a black president, and I was always told, or always was under the illusion that, like, we couldn't have a black president, or like black people wasn't capable of running the United States. So just having a black president, that was super special.
Man, you just said something that really just made me think too. You said you was under the illusion that black people were not capable.
That's what they tell us.
And it's not capable. It's being allowed more so. Why are they gonna allow a black man to get in office and be the president? I'm glad you said that. I didn't even think about that until you said that. That was one of the greatest moments in Black history that we can really be proud about. I just don't think, I ain't gonna get deep in this because I'm gonna go ahead and give mine. I know we're keeping the people long, but I don't think we were ready for a black female president. They were already not ready for a white woman to be the president. I don't think we were ready as a nation to be ready to be led by a black woman. But I think she would have done an amazing job. She would have did a very better job than what we have now. But my old school moment in Black history was Black Wall Street. You named all the things out today. I have Rudy bought this for me for Valentine's Day, and this was really great. The Greenwood community in Tulsa, they had all these different businesses, law offices, hospitals, all these different businesses where black people were able to come together and live in a community with our own resources. And if anybody knows anything about the Tulsa race massacre or whatever, supposedly a black guy assaulted a white woman in the elevator. They arrested the guy because there was, fear that he would be attacked and something would be done with him. A whole bunch of black men came to the jail, to protect him. A whole bunch of stuff ended up going down after that in a series of events. And in the first fight, it was 10 white men killed, and I think it was only 2 black men killed. Mm-hmm. And then when that happened, after everybody heard that these white men had been murdered because of their attack on the black community, a whole bunch of people came in, and the mobs burned down the whole city. And a lot of people don't know a lot about the Tulsa massacre, but that Black Wall Street, I hold dear to my heart.
A lot of don't even know about Black Wall Street, as it is. And then, man, for us Arkansas people, if you do know about Black Wall Street, did you know that O.W. Gurley was from Pine Bluff, Arkansas?
Yeah, like you said earlier, they didn't even know that.
Did you know that?
No, I'm sure they didn't. Because we don't teach that type of stuff. But that would be my, old school favorite moment. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's wrap this bad boy up. I taught you before how we do it, our weekly heat, how we do it. So you got to do it with us.
Is that the little?
Yeah. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and I want you to say Weekly Heat. Weekly Heat. We only do it twice. I did it 3 times last time. We needed to give you a good run.
So
we
you
only
say
do it twice.
We do it 3 times this time?
2.
2 times.
2.
All right, cool.
All right, here we go, Chris. 1, 2, 3. Weekly Heat. Weekly Heat. Yo, that boy 8 on that one. That boy 8.
Let's go.
All right. We got this. Weekly Heat. So, you stole my thunder a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and tell them about the Tower of Babel. They don't really understand that even God had to divide us because when we got together as a people, we were way too ambitious and way too prideful. See, we tried to do it without God. And that was the problem on why he divided us up.
Watch out now.
After the great floods, everybody still spoke the same language. Think about Africa. After the Tower of Babel, when he had to divide us up, he gave us all different languages so we couldn't understand each other. So that's how we all got divided. The word Babel is also, I want to say it's like Hebrew for confusion. So with that being said, history going to repeat itself. We get too prideful, we get too ambitious, and we start doing things that outside of what God got for us and what he wants for us. And when we do it without him, he got to teach us. He got to show us better than he can tell us. Because obviously we're not understanding our history. If you go back in the Bible, you see a lot of times where we didn't do what we were supposed to do and how he had to let things happen in the way he did. So with that being said, the same thing is happening. They are dividing and conquering. Divide us, they conquer. This is coming back up again. So with that being said, it's in us, not on us.
And you got to know it.
True
to it, not new to it, Jack.
We have within us what it will take to bring us up out of this. Mm-hmm. So as I say that, I want to give you guys a little bit more information. We don't do nothing without God around here. So we got an event that we actually putting together, we're working on. We'll give y'all a little tip on it. Waggy Sunday. Waggy Sunday is going to be focusing on coming together, making a joyful noise, praising God, and also talking about community issues. So we'll keep y'all detailed on that.
And just to give y'all a little bit more, it's gonna be down south somewhere.
On baby,
the city, but it's gonna be somewhere down south.
On baby. And with that being said, we appreciate y'all for pulling up on us. Peace.
This life has been a struggle. I'm still out here milking. Cause I be damned if I don't get it for my children's children, and that's real.